Bonjour tout le monde at Ringside Crew. My name is Ashley D'Ambois.
This is Tina San Antonio, your NYWC Scarlet Champion.
This is the Savage Juggernaut, Tamaku.
And you're listening to Dudes at Ringside Podcast with Joe Panther and the Metal Geek.
You're watching and listening to the Dudes at Ringside Podcast, hosted by Metal Geek and Joe the Panther Jr.
Hello there, wrestling fans, and welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Panther III, and now for introducing from the top of Metal Mountain all the way down to all 50 states and the globe, it's the happy heel. Everybody start brewing. It's the happy heel himself, the Metal Geek.
Happy Spidey Day, first of all. You know,
Yeah.
Joe. All right. What's going on, Ringside Crew? What's going on, internationally known? What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Joe? How's it going? Well, hey, Robbie, what's up?
Hey, Robbie, what's up, man?
See you at VPW.
Unfortunately, I won't be there probably toward the summer, so
All right.
yeah, there's that. All right, Geekins, you ready to introduce our fun, happy guest?
Yeah.
Let's give a whoa, Dudes at Ringside welcome to the owner and promoter of Hammerlock Pro Wrestling.
Hey guys, how's it going?
How's it going? What's up?
Welcome to the Dudes at Ringside Podcast, where we talk about what we love the most, wrestling, and hang out like we're at the pizza place.
Robbie says he's excited for VPW. It's only days away, right?
VPW is a promotion that's on Long Island. That's really right now. You could like pretty much
pick somebody out of there.
Pick anybody out of their roster and put them against anybody on your roster, and I think it would be or have VPW versus Hammerlock, and it would be a good show. Like that.
Nice.
Roster.
They're very old school. They're wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That it is something that we very much strive to do with the old school mentality and the old school vibe.
Yeah.
Like it's classic great wrestling. That's what VPW is. So anything from Hammerlock would be an amazing and a promotional, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, who knows, right? Like once the borders open up a little bit more, because from words up here, it might be getting all tightened up again. But
yeah, I heard. Yeah.
Once we could get past this stuff and start living a normal life again, who knows? Maybe we can make some connections.
Yeah, man. Totally. That'd be cool. You come down to Long Island. Let us know if you come down. Let us know like a month in advance. I'll come down to Long Island because I live in Pennsylvania. We'll have some pizza or some tacos.
Nice.
Long Island's not only known for pizza, they have yummy bagels. We could have some pizza. We could have some Greek food. We'll have some Mexican food. Whatever's on the docket that day.
Sounds good to me. Food is how you get to my heart.
Yeah. Also, remember it's Long Island. We're surrounded by water, so there's lots of like fish and fried fish and chips and the
definitely.
fun stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. Also, old school is where it's at. Scumbags Wrestling says, you know.
You brought a tear to this old school wrestling fan right here.
Make sure you follow Scumbags Wrestling.
I geek on my geek. Don't talk about our fans like that. Oh wait, yeah.
No, it's his name.
Yeah.
My geek's gonna get in trouble, bro. and then I looked. I was like, oh, I'm on here. How would they know I'm on Twitch?
They are a good group of guys. They have a Facebook group called Scumbags of Wrestling, and
no, I was saying that was me because I'm that spoiled old school wrestling fan. Because as I grew up in Long Island, where geeks from, like us New Yorkers, we don't think we're spoiled till I moved out of Long Island and I moved to Pennsylvania. People tell me, "Hey, you guys are spoiled in New York." I'm like, why? Like, you guys got a chance to go to Madison Square Garden as a teen and a child. Yeah. Like, not everybody gets a chance unless you're from Boston. You get a chance to go to the Boston Garden.
Yeah,
but, like, going to like the Garden, like. And getting a chance to hear Howard Finkel announce.
Yeah.
That Yeah.
See, and for me up here, like being a Canadian boy born and raised on hockey, I'm not a Toronto fan, but I am a Habs fan. So for me, that people in Montreal that go, this city's not that great, and I'm going, I would have died to be able to just go to. Oh, you want to go to a Habs game? Sure, let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I completely get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shouts out to us right there, Stefan. Thanks a lot, man.
Hey, Stefan.
So,
unfortunately, he's a Patriots fan, and we still like him.
he's still a great guy.
Wow, I just roasted him. Thank you. Welcome. we just got unfollowed. I think I just saw the numbers go down. Sorry, Roasty. you just got mauled by a cat. You don't even know it. If we had that meme of the cat smacking the little kid in the face and it says "own," I think, yeah. I just
right,
hope
Pats, but respect Super Bowl.
Please no, not again. We don't need another Tom Brady Super Bowl.
No.
We had to deal with the pandemic.
I'd prefer if Tom could just stay out of one Super Bowl. It'd be nice.
Yes, yeah. Like we had to deal with a pandemic and then have to deal with Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl. Like again, it's like, come on, I get it, you're the champion.
Yeah, Robbie says he's coming for me for the. He said the Dudes at Ringside Championship this Saturday.
Save that for the summertime so he can make a video of he goes to hit you with the chair and then I grab the chair like what the Joe, you're here, and then I just like
the lights go out. It's like that old school like the lights go out. It's like what happened?
And I lightly tap him in the head with the chair, and he falls, and I just put my finger on him. I said, "I'm too good for this." 1, 2, 3, thank you, and I walk away. But it's funny. I do the shoulder tappy thing with the belt. I have a funny short story about the shoulder tap thing on the top. People with their belts on their shoulder, and they're like, "Rrr." I was at WWE New York. I went there. Somebody had a belt, and I did that. Oh, cool, title belt, and I threw it on my shoulder, and a person behind me was walking by, and the strap just went. And all I heard was, and I'm just like, and the guy's like, I'm okay. I'm just like, I don't know if he got hit or not. I was like, oh my God, I don't want this anymore. I'm so sorry.
And those belts are heavy. Like the real belts, they are not light. They can be used as a weapon.
Yeah, I didn't know if it hit him or not. I don't know if he clapped his hands and he just kept walking, but it looked like he got straight up whacked in the center of the face by the strap.
Anyone who shows up to an event with a championship should have to defend it.
Yes.
Sorry, Robbie. I'm sorry, man.
For sure. Like, there should be like, how the 24/7 title, our era will be the hardcore title. Like, if they should have that on the door, if you show up with title belt, you must defend it. And then everybody turns around and goes, you're like, that's not mine. This is his.
Exactly. Just watch how fast people throw it onto their friend. Just bring that friend who you could just rely on to take it over.
Geek's too skinny. I'm the buff guy. I'm the buff one. So he'd be like, Joe, you're the strong one. You can do that, right? I'm like, I look at the crowd. Sorry, but keep going.
Oh God, no. He said he's going to defend it. This Saturday, he's making a challenge right there.
Yeah.
So a funny little story. So I'm very much a bad guy. Like I like the bad guys when it comes to WWE, AEW, horror movies. I always root for the bad guy. Well, when the Wyatt family was really big, they came to London here. So myself and my wife, Becky, went to go watch the show. So we were about 7 rows away from the ring, and there was some guys behind, like this old man about 3 rows behind us. The Wyatt family comes out. So I'm cheering for them. Well, every time I cheered for them, the old man would like call them hillbillies or tell them to go home. And then at one point I stopped, and then I let him cheer. Every time he would cheer, I would just let out a yell. It got to the point where like my whole section was laughing, and Bret at one point, after the old man yelled and then I yelled, just turned and smiled this big smile. Just because it was absolutely crazy. Like the guy just kept going off, calling them hillbillies and telling them to go home. And I'm just cheering away for them to win. And yeah, it gave everyone a good laugh. That the old man was really upset that I was cheering for them.
Mm.
Yeah,
I actually had a funny story about with a Bray Wyatt, like a Wyatt family story. I went to a show in Allentown, Pennsylvania, with my other friend, with the Balor Club guy. Like, and I had a full beard, like geek, but it was like full on. I wouldn't brush like Bray Wyatt. I had my real beard that I had. I had a fedora that my friend gave me, a Hawaiian shirt, tank top, jeans, and gave me the belt. And I went to the show, and I was like, he's like, we were sitting ringside, and the Wyatt family came out, and I forgot which one of the guys looked right at me and was like, I think it was one that was his birthday today.
Brody
Brody
right?
looked right at me, and I'm like, brother, you don't have to fear me. I am your leader. And he was like, and then what's his name? Braun came right in front of me and just stood there and looked down at me like, I'm like, big man, you're my wall, and I was like rambling, and he was just like, and just looked at me, and he just walked around the ring, and I was just, everybody around me was like, and I'm just, I just was scared, but I'm thinking, if he touched me, security will take him.
Happy birthday, John Huber, by the way.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was a big loss.
Yeah, I was sad. I was like, what?
I heard he was a great guy too.
Yeah. I've
from the stories.
Yeah, I know some wrestlers that knew him quite well, and they all had very high things to say about him.
Yeah.
So
I have that picture. I have to find the picture, geek. I'll send it to you. It's just like them in the ring. And I think the Balor Club guy had a picture from the opposite side of the ring of me standing there, and they're all in front of me. And at the intermission, Balor Club guy's like, "Oh my God, Joe, I was gonna run over, man. I thought you were gonna get your ass kicked, man. I didn't know what was about to happen, man." I'm like, they wouldn't have done that.
No. Unless you jump that gate and you go after them.
Yeah.
they don't.
Unless WWE wants a nice lawsuit, then
yeah.
Braun Strowman actually smirked a little bit when I was like, "You are my oak tree in my stable." Nobody, because he kind of like smile a little bit, like like he knew I was rambling on, like Ray always does. It's like nobody could see it. It was just me and everybody else around me. They were like, oh, he smirked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That it's always good when you can get them to break character just a little bit, right?
I can see because he had that big beard, so it was like kind of like, yeah.
See that, Joe? See what Robbie's telling us? Pretty soon I'll be appearing in NEW for one match, but they're going to train me.
NEW, that's up here by me. They perform up in
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's congratulations, Robbie.
Congratulations, buddy. That promotion's another good promotion, NEW, because they get like people from AEW. Rey Mysterio's been there.
They'll try to get the big names.
Oh
yeah, for NEW. Like,
but then the ticket prices, they don't say, they just go.
They go up through the roof because then they gotta afford the people from AEW. So
absolutely, it's a high price tag when you go get those guys. Yeah, and that's one of the things. Like with us, a lot of people have asked, like, are you going to bring in any big names? Are you going to just because some of the people I've connected with have those connections, and I tell people, you know what, being a brand new promotion, there's no way I'm going to set that bar where people expect, AEW stars or Impact stars or right off the hop, because, that really puts me in a corner, because the only way that I can build is by bringing more and more. And I want to put on shows with good athletes that are going to put on a great show and build it that way first, because build the fan base and then give them that treat.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. That's kind of like the same thing with us. Everyone's like, "Oh, I'll listen to your show when you guys get The Rock." I'll be like,
so unless you guys buy a lot of his tequila.
Oh yeah. Totally buy a lot of tequila.
Unless we have 100,000 viewers, then we're not going to be getting The Rock anytime soon on the
Like,
show.
I know my sister keeps saying the Rock, but like the people we've had on our podcast are pretty damn cool. Like,
I've been awesome. Guys have been awesome.
We've had Al Snow. Oh, sorry.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, what people have to realize is the guests that you bring on are exactly in the position that all these big stars were in at one point in time in their career.
Yeah.
So like they all had to start somewhere. So we really need to start giving these guys a shot who, like I tell my crew all the time, and I tell my talent all the time, like, guys, I'm always going to pay you great. I'm always going to treat you with the most respect because you guys are the ones putting your bodies on the line. Like, yes, I'm putting everything together. I'm making everything happen, but you guys are the ones that are putting yourselves on the line and putting your bodies and sacrificing, your evenings, your weekends to put on a show. So for me, like, they need the most respect out of anybody because it takes a lot. It takes skill. I don't care what anyone says. It takes skill. It takes a lot of time and energy. And a lot of these people lose out on a lot of family things, right? Like when you think about when do people get married? When are birthdays celebrated? Always on the weekend.
Yeah.
And these guys pretty much work every weekend. So, like trying to, have guys like you guys that are going to put these guys out there and you never know that someone might come on your podcast and a promoter might see them and be like, hey man, I really like that guy's personality. I really like what he has to say. And they started checking in on them and checking what their matches look like. And next thing you know, these guys are getting booked all over the world.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, and me and Joe could say, you heard them first, Dudes at Ringside podcast right there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like these people, we like in March, we thought we were just going to be doing this to have us just talk to each other about Raws and SmackDowns. And then I told
I got boring really fast.
Like, you want me to start asking? Like we're friends with a husband and wife that are wrestlers in Long Island, former wrestlers, and I'm like, can I ask the wife that I know? And she's like, oh, hey, see if she'll say yes. Hey, what's up, Max? And I was just like, she said, sure, geek. And I was like, what? I'm like, yeah. And then we had her. And first, we had all the questions written down, like. And now we don't
do that. We just have everything stored in our brain right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We freestyle it. That's it. So whatever comes to our mind.
And sometimes it just flows better, right? Because when you get into the habit of just following your questions, something interesting might come up, and then you're so worried about that next question. Yeah. So you don't really dive into it. You just keep following your questions, and there could be juicy bits that you miss out on.
Yeah.
Yep, I've had times that I done an interview with a wrestler and we're so excited to talk to him, and I'm so excited because my happy anxiety being going, and then after the interview would go off and I go to bed and then I wake up like 2 a.m. like I should have said that question. Damn it! All the time, every time I just wake up like oh. Shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have said that. Oh,
he's had Diener on his, and he's on Impact every week now. So there you go. All right.
Yeah.
Diener's a really good guy. He's a fantastic guy. Great wrestler. He does a lot for all the communities that he wrestles into.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So know what somebody that's great from Long Island that just made the Impact is actually VSK.
Yep.
VSK. Yep. He's awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Very hardworking guy. Very hardworking. And once they start putting him in singles matches on Impact, you're gonna see how good he really is. Because me and Joe know from first experience.
I got a chance to see him live on Long Island, and I was like, "Who is this guy? He is good."
Yeah.
And it's always nice when you get to follow their careers like that, right? When you get to see them live and then you see that progress. Yeah. And next thing you know, you're like, hey man, I used to buy stuff off that guy at wrestling shows, and I used to watch him live.
Yeah. Did Bret Hart ever come to your promotion? That's what he wants to know.
Come to my promotion?
Yeah.
No, Bret Hart has not come to my promotion. But who knows? We do have big plans. A 5-year goal is to start traveling across the country. So who knows what's going to happen if and when we get out west, because Calgary and Alberta has a really a big foundation in old school wrestling. So I think it'd be a pretty fantastic time if we go out there.
Yeah. I have a question. How did Hammerlock get started?
All right. So it wasn't necessarily my main objective. Okay. So basically Becky Nix, my wife, who's training, she's been trained. We actually moved from Sudbury, Ontario down to London, Ontario for her to train. And I started talking with Tyson. Tyson was thinking of starting his own promotion and get things going, and COVID hit. So me and him kept talking. We both have that love for athleticism and the old school mentality, old school wrestling style. And eventually he just has too many projects on the go. So I turned to him and I said, hey, look, why don't I purchase not just the promotion, but the clothing line as well. And, I grow it. I be the owner and operator, and I grow it. And he's on as a consultant because the man has knowledge beyond belief when it comes to wrestling, and he's well respected. So he said yes. So I bought the promotion, and about a month later, I put on my first show.
Yeah. Wow. How did that go?
It went really well, actually. We had close to 200 people come out.
Wow.
And I still get messages from people from that area. The hall that we were in, which was the Portuguese Canadian Club of Strathroy, they get calls on a weekly basis asking when we're going to be back. So it was really, really good. And it's funny because I have had wrestlers who, were, at the show watching or part of the show, where they've went, man, like people popped at like a body slam. People got excited over just a body slam, and it's because of the way we tell the story, because of the way we put the matches together. Those moves mean something again. So, you're not getting someone getting drop kicked off the top rope 16 times and the other guy just keeps getting up and it not meaning anything. So when there is a big move that happens, it means something and the fans get excited. So it was pretty crazy. It was a quick turnover. It was a quick planning and quick putting things together, but the show was a great success. So we ended up putting on a second show 2 months later.
What would you say the hardest part about being a promoter is?
I think the hardest part is ensuring that you have everything together, because so many little hiccups can happen, and a small bump in the road can really derail a project. So it's making sure that you have everything lined up, making sure that you're one step ahead of everybody else. So when it comes to, you know, your talent, when it comes to your crew, as an example, all my crew, I pay my crew. I don't, like, even my crew makes money. So no one volunteers for free. I don't want to take people's time, because at the end of the day, I want people to be there because they want to be there and they want to, you know, they want that experience. So that's the toughest part is really just making sure everything's in order. So that way it goes off as seamless as possible. And the spectators, when they come in, feel like that show did not have a hiccup. So as long as they don't see any errors or they can't sense a mistake, that's when you know you've done your job well.
That's good.
Yeah.
And finishing moves are everything. Finishing moves are finishing moves, not just a setup for another spot.
100%.
Yep, totally. He's right.
Exactly. And that's one of the things where with us, if when someone has a finishing move and that's going to be their move, their finisher, we don't allow anyone else to use that move.
Wow.
Good.
So just because we don't want to diminish that move. You know, we don't want someone saying, "Oh, I'm going to use, you know, I'm going to use this German suplex," and the guy's going to get up, and then I'm going to kick him and whatnot, and then the next match, the person's using the German suplex as a finisher. It kills that finisher.
Yeah,
exactly.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like if I use the vertebraker and then Geek's like, "Oh, I'm going to use that in my next match."
Yeah,
just a regular move. No, that would break down what I'm trying to show to the fans, that the vertebraker, my vertebraker,
it's not
just
good.
knocked you out.
Exactly. And it's just like we try and stay away from the you know, one guy being, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 times bigger than the other guy, just for a simple fact that because we're not you know, we don't do luchador wrestling, you know, we don't want people to sit there and go, "Oh, this giant guy is getting beat up by this little guy." And so we really want to keep it as realistic as possible. Because, you know, in general, if you were in a fight and you were 4'11", you wouldn't go after someone that's 7 feet tall.
Definitely not. No.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
So
it's like New Japan, I believe, does something similar to what you guys do. I feel like when Okada hits that Rainmaker, it's over.
yes, yeah, absolutely.
But, I mean, if the guy does kick out, he'll hit it again, and that will be I'll be it. It's done. It's done with. It's like he doesn't kick out multiple times, and Okada has to find another finisher. He just hits it, and that's it. It's over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or the story that they tried to tell with Kenny Omega, where no one has ever kicked out of the One Wing Angel, ever.
Yeah, so absolutely.
They try to protect that move, which I actually love that, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing for us. It's just like the whole thing where when the guys are wrestling or the girls are wrestling in ring, they're not giving each other space, you know? So like, you know, if someone kicks you, you're not going to back up and give them space for them to have a running attack. You know, so it's almost like always close combat.
Yeah, totally. For sure.
So, were you trained wrestler before you started your own promotion, or?
No, I was not. So I have this weird habit of trying to promoting things and becoming involved with things that I haven't done. Back in 2009, Becky wanted to start a roller derby league. So I said, sure, let's do it. So we started a roller derby league. She was the president. I was vice president. I did all the promotions for it. I just, for me, I see the business side of things. So I I understand a lot of people sit back going, oh, how can you promote if you're not a wrestler? And I think in a sense, it gives me a bit of an advantage because I understand the game, but at the same time, I'm good with business. So that's where I excel. So for me, I can break everything down, and I look at the dollar and cents of things to make sure that it's a good business plan, because that's what it at the end of the day, that's what it is to me. Is it's a business.
Yep, completely. Yep, totally.
So what would you say some of your favorite moments are from Hammerlock Wrestling?
One of my favorite moments was at our very first show. So my wrestlers have this this habit now of telling me, oh, you're doing kayfabe with your own wrestlers, because I do have a habit of not giving them the secrets of what's happening. So the very first show, I wasn't planning on having a belt or anything like that. And with Hard Knocks Wrestling, they do that's where Tyson trains. He has a belt. The owner of Hard Knocks owns Midwestern Wrestling as well. Well, I approached him and I said, hey, I'd love to surprise everyone and make our main event for the belt, for the Midwestern belt. So we made that deal, and I told him, I said, you can't tell anybody. No one is allowed to know. So nobody knew, not even the wrestlers. The guys competing in the main event did not know until right before the main event. And I said, okay, guys, we're going to go out first, and we're going to do a presentation in regards to Hammerlock Pure Wrestling, and then you guys will come out. And that's when they found out that they were actually wrestling for a belt. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Really good. We got them. They were like, what?
Yeah.
Like, wait, this is ours if we win it?
Yeah. So it was fantastic. Like, nobody in the locker room knew. They just saw the black bag when we went to walk out, and all of a sudden you hear, is that a belt? I'm like, yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's probably my top moment. And then the next one was in Elmer when we had our second show. What I decided to do at that show is stand at the door as people were leaving. And the amount of people that came up to me saying that this is the wrestling that they miss. We had a lot of older generation there as well that were like, this is what wrestling is. I've even had a gentleman contact me saying, can you try and give me all your show dates as far in advance so I can make sure that I have my kids those weekends so I can bring them to all your shows. So those are definitely top moments.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then there's the fact that we've got a couple really new, fresh guys that have exploded on the scene. Like Bryce Hansen, Chili Brown, those two guys, they've been training for about, I want to say almost a year. And they put on a phenomenal show anytime they're on. And those are two boys that are definitely they're young guys that are definitely guys to watch. They're naturally athletic. Chili Brown, crazy backstory to him is the fact that he's never done sports in his life. And when you see him in the ring, you would never, ever be like, oh man, that guy's never been an athlete. You would 100% think that he's done every sport known to man.
Mm-hmm.
And kickball and dodgeball.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll add a few.
Yep. And, one other thing. At the Elmer show was the first show that we had our women's match. and we had cops show up at the event because, you know, COVID. And they basically walked in, stood around, watched the females match, and then left.
Wow.
They were like, "Oh, that was awesome," and then they left. I was like, "All right, you're not going to walk around or do anything. That's fantastic."
He's here to enjoy the show. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
So like free ticket, don't have to pay for a ticket. Oh, I'm a cop. Yeah, I get a free ticket.
Yeah. So we've had, even though we've only had 2 shows, we've had some great moments, and I'm really looking forward to 2022 because we've got some really cool things coming up, and I think we do have some special moments that are going to be happening that I won't be discussing at this point.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So we'll leave it at that. We're not going to ask you nothing else. That's it.
I don't have any more questions, Geek. You got any more questions?
Yeah, we have one. Has any famous wrestlers came from your promotion?
So the most famous would be my current champion, which is Tyson Dukes. He's been on WWE. He's been on. He's pretty much been on every famous promotion out there. He, due to COVID, it stopped him from being on a couple others that I don't feel at liberty of speaking about because it wasn't out there. He has actually, and this is known. He's actually flown down to Florida and did some training, like trained WWE stars. So he was flown down to be a coach. So Tyson Dukes is probably the most famous on our card. But there are some that they are definitely up and comers. There's Rodney Matthews, who is phenomenal. There's awesome. Yeah, and then there's Miley as well. Like two phenomenal wrestlers. And they work hard. They put their time in. They put their money in. They're definitely doing a lot to get out there.
Yeah, Miley and those two, they really opened the door for us for your promotion for Hammerlock. Like, if we didn't have them on, we would never know you. We wouldn't be. That's
the inside of talking to people. You know.
Exactly.
Because someone in the chat might be like, who's Miley and who's Rodney? And they'll be like, oh, I looked them up. They work for Hammerlock. And there you go, right there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the goal.
And they're phenomenal. And that's one of the things, like I see, scumbags saying how Hammerlock has a family feel. And that's it's very true. My big thing to everybody is it has to be positive. Don't come in with an attitude. Don't come in thinking you're better than anybody else. Because for me, again, like I was saying earlier, at the end of the day, I see it as a business. This isn't my, hey guys, let's all hang out. Let's all be friends. Or this isn't my buddy thing. This isn't my, my get together. This isn't a hobby for me. There's plans in place to make this a full grown business. So I don't want anyone there that can bring ill repute, I guess you could say, to the organization.
Yeah, it's kind of like when me and Joe went, when Joe came up to Long Island, me and Joe went to a local wrestling show, and after the show, the wrestlers asked us, "What do you guys think of the show? What do you think? What did you think?" And they started high fiving us and everything. It was like a whole family.
Yeah,
it was like a whole family feel right there.
Yeah.
So
I'm not used to having wrestlers come up to us ask, but then I realized, dumb ass, that you now have a microphone by your face.
Yeah.
Bing bong.
Well, yeah, no, and it's true. Like it's funny because like since becoming a owner promoter, when I go to other shows, I do get. I get those conversations that, before it was, that's Becky's husband. So, I kind of stayed in the background because wrestling is hers.
Yeah.
And I still do now. Like I don't overstep my boundaries just because I'm a promoter or an owner, because I don't feel that's necessary. And I also feel that we should all try and work together to promote wrestling. But
Exactly.
But now, like, wrestlers will come up to me and have, a lot more in-depth conversations in regards to wrestling. So it does feel good. I'm not going to lie. It does feel good. But it is different. It's something that I'm not 100% used to.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like, just so you guys know as well, like at our shows, we're very different compared to a lot of places. So we'll allow the wrestlers to have their merch, and they could bring someone in at no cost to sell their merch. But we only allow one, like, I guess one good guy to come out at intermission to sell his stuff. We really try and stick more to the tradition, the old school tradition, that a bad guy's a bad guy. And
Gotcha.
we want the wrestlers to be larger than life. And I understand some feel that we may be taking away from them in making money by selling their merch. But that's why we allow someone to sell their merch the whole time. Because if you sell yourself properly, people are going to buy your merch no matter what. They want to support you. Yeah. But at the same time, I try and pay well above average to ensure that I compensate for the fact that, hey guys, you know what? Like, you might not sell as much merch, but I'm giving you enough money that, you don't have to worry about, oh, I got to sell at least two t-shirts, or, I'm bust. I really try and make sure that we take care of our guys.
Yeah.
That's really good to hear, to be honest with you, because
that's good to know that you really do that for your wrestlers. Because, like, I believe that too. Like, if there's a heel at a show, do you think a heel is gonna want, like,
be nice to the fans?
To a kid that doesn't like him, like, just booed him 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
No.
But go ahead.
I was gonna say, but they want to make money as well. So, and that's my point. I was gonna say, how is the wrestler gonna make money now if they're not gonna make? But then you just brought it up that you compensate them very well to make it more part of the gimmick. So
exactly,
which is awesome, by the way. So
yeah, it's one of those things. Also what we do is I try and have it more of a family feel as well, to the point where there's always a dinner. So I know some wrestlers won't eat, but what we do is we'll set up tables. We'll have a dinner. Like at our first show, we had one long table where the wrestlers and the crew all sat down together, and we all ate together. And then, like, right after, we had our meeting, and then we had dinner together as basically like a family, and then went on with the show.
And yeah, he's 100% right. A heel just kicked the shit out of someone 5 minutes earlier should not be smiling and kissing babies. It was just absolutely right.
No.
That's it's like, Joe, if you want to tell the story of the husband and wife duo, what happened to you during intermission?
What do you mean?
You remember, he's like, Joe, go away. I'm a heel.
With my friend, my buddy. As I said, the first guest on our podcast, at the time, she was a heel, and I was such a big fan of her, and I made, like, the shirts that I heart the person, and she's like, Joe, that's so cool, but I'm a heel now, so I gotta just pretend like I shooed you away.
I'm mean to you. I was mean to you.
I put the head down, the arms down, the shoulders down. I'm just like, I can do it. Trust me. Just for you, bud. Don't worry. She's like, okay, Joe, go for it.
Yeah. One of my favorite moments that I've seen with a heel interact with a fan. So there's there's a wrestler up here, Tomer Shalom. He wrestles all the time with Northland Wrestling out of North Bay. Well, me and Becky used to go to the shows when we lived in Sudbury. We went to the shows religiously, and he pretty much made a fan or a child cry every show, and it just because how good of a character he was. Well, there was intermission, and he's standing there, and this teenager or young adult walks up, gives him $20, asks him to sign a picture for him. So he signs the picture, gives it to the guy. The guy turns around, rips it up, and throws it at him. And I was like, that is crazy. Tomer's like, oh, well, $20 is $20.
Wasted $20, kid.
Yeah, but it was so great because it just showed how much like he got to people, right? Like it was fantastic.
There's a wrestler over in the East Coast. His name, Joe knows what I'm talking about. His name's Silky Smooth. You know?
Oh yeah.
So Joe knows where I'm going with this story. Sorry. He actually cheats during his matches. He's a heel. So
Okay.
He's a heel manager. So like the kid yelled at him, say, "You cheated. You cheated, Silky. You cheated." Silky looks at him and says, "So did your wife."
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like MJF. His fan.
He is a great heel though.
Yeah, absolutely. and that's what it's about, right? So for me, with my shows, I don't want to put the heels in that awkward position where kids are asking for pictures or, you know, oh, you got to now smile when you were just a bad guy. It doesn't make sense. And again, it's about making the wrestlers feel larger than life. Because at the end of the day, I don't want someone sitting in the crowd, you know, trying to, you know, eye up a wrestler and be like, oh, well, he's just a regular Joe like me. I want them to see what they do in the ring and go, man, like, I have no chance with that guy. Like, that guy's just phenomenal, or that woman's phenomenal in the ring. And that's what I want, is I want that feel to start growing where, you know, back in the day where kids used to run outside and wait outside for the wrestlers to leave to try and get an autograph, not just expect them to just be standing there just to give in to whatever's being asked of.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anything else, Geek?
I mean, how we doing on time? We're good, or for a couple more minutes? Or,
I'm fine.
Okay. There's some people like to go 30. Some people like to go an hour. Just like, are we good?
We're making sure we're still good here.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. One thing you'll learn about me is I'm a talker. So I could go all day, all night. It's a curse and a blessing all at the same time.
I just get worried because I know you guys are busy doing things. You're making matches. You're with family and stuff like that. It is the holiday season, so we don't want to like keep you guys on here too long and have you like, you guys are mean, dudes are mean.
You guys
I made you sound
all
like
of my time away, you know?
No, not at all. I don't feel that at all.
Which is awesome. You've been awesome this whole show, though. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do try and take pride in what I do and what everyone in the wrestling world does.
All right. What would you say your favorite match is?
Oh, like ever?
Yeah. Anything. It could be anything.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Man. Yeah, that's a tough one because there's a lot of really good ones. Like in the 90s, I was a big Stone Cold fan, which is, again, clearly not what wrestling I'm putting on.
Yeah.
But I was a very big Stone Cold fan. And here's an odd thing. I was, as much as I love bad guys, I never liked DX. I never liked.
I kind of liked them, but I kind of thought they were kind of annoying. I was like,
yeah. But you know, some of my absolute favorite matches were like Undertaker's casket matches. I really like those. As corny as it is in the long run, because you know no one's really dying and that wrestler's on TV the next day.
about that in the 90s. They should have them disappear for like a month. Like,
yeah. I really liked a lot of Undertaker stuff. Just the whole dark theme, it was fantastic.
I'd say my favorite match, and Joe knows my favorite match. I've said it so many times on podcasts. It's gonna say Okada Omega 4.
Yeah, it's a fantastic match.
Fantastic story.
Yep.
I compare Okada, like Joe's gonna get mad at me. It's just a high praise, but to Bruno Sammartino.
Whoa.
So.
Whoa, dude. Whoa. Give the Peter Griffin. Whoa.
No,
Like,
I'm saying this generation, you can never replace Bruno, okay?
Yeah,
but
you're about to get beat up by an old person. Next time you leave your supermarket, an old man's randomly going to hit you in the ankle, and you're going to know what that was for.
I'm just going to say that because it's this generation, because everything this guy does in the ring is so good. He's probably the greatest wrestler of this generation. I'm just going to call him right now. Say what you want about Roman Reigns, though, but Okada's this generation.
For me, my all-time, like, as a child, my all-time favorite match is Bret Kurt Hennig at SummerSlam 91. That taught me the submission stuff, the way they did their moves together. But there's a story behind that match. I don't know if you know. Did you know Kurt Hennig was wrestling injured that whole match? Was it injured back?
Man, and that's the thing. Those old school guys, man. The things that they used to put their bodies through.
Yeah,
it's just phenomenal. Like
crazy.
Oh, it's stuff that, you know, knowing what we know now, we try. You definitely try not to ask your athletes to do that kind of stuff. No, at the same time, some athletes just don't care, and they're like, "I got to put on a show."
And my favorite match as a teen that I always go back to, and Geek knows, is Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, Halloween Havoc.
Yes,
definitely.
Oh, that match, classic. When Rey was wearing like that onesie with the purple and like the Phantom of the Opera one.
Macho Man versus Steamboat, all-time classic.
Yeah, that match has everything. It has everything. Interruptions, Miss Elizabeth.
That is a great match.
Steamboat was a phenomenal wrestler. He was a talented wrestler.
Yeah, totally.
But like for me, unfortunately, one of the toughest parts about my issues is I've received a lot of concussions over my sports career, so a lot of stuff I have to rewatch, and that's a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, because I get to watch wrestling like it's new. But yeah, so that's why, like, when it comes to picking dates or, you know, a specific event, it definitely is difficult at times, unless it's been very recent. Just for some fact that my memory is a little bit faded from my youth.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, we're getting lots of matches in the chat, Geekin. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Look what Geek started. Savage versus Warrior at Mania 7. Great storytelling. Set it up, and then reunion for Randy and Elizabeth. Definitely.
Did you get a chance to watch that Savage Dark Side of the Ring episode?
Yes.
What did you think about that? I kind of was like, whoa.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happened.
Oh man, it's incredible the crazy stuff that happened and the stories of just the two sides, right? Like it was something else. It was really something else.
It's just sad because that whole thing with the wedding, and they were getting a divorce right around that time that they were doing the wedding, and I was like, my childhood was just crushed. I was like, oh my god, they loved each other the whole time. Oh my god.
Yeah, and I think the other crazy part is how wrestling brought them together, but also tore them apart.
Yep.
Like absolutely crazy. Like, and that's the thing with the dark side of the ring. I've told a lot of people this is, I really feel like they need like the bright side of the ring as well, because I just like, I'll try watching it and I'll watch one episode. I'll watch a second episode. I'll get to a third and I'm like, okay, I gotta turn it off, because it's crushing some of that stuff of what happened to previous generations, right? Like it's absolutely insane, some of the things that those guys went through.
Yeah, did you see the Moolah one? The Moolah one. Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah. So sad.
Yeah. These two stories that some people said Moolah's a bad person, and these people came out and said, no, it's like Moolah is a great person. She taught me so much. I'm like,
yeah,
which is it? And which is it, man? You know?
Yeah, like two whole different camps, right? And and not just like no, I think Moolah was a great person. It was like they were convinced, like it was very, like both camps were hard set in their thought of who she was.
Yeah.
Like there was no convincing one over the other. And it was just incredible to see how just different interactions with different people have created such different mindsets of one person.
Yeah.
And
totally.
and they convinced Snickers to get rid of Moolah's name in the WrestleMania, what's it called, Battle Royal, because so many people were angry about it.
Yeah, which is and that's the thing. Like I do have my issues with cancel culture to a point, just because different eras had different rules.
Yeah.
And we really have to look at that. You know, and people can change, people can, you know, just because you had a certain thought process at a certain time in your life doesn't mean that's how you are now. And you know, like Max says at the bottom here, at the end of the day, you can't please everyone, right?
No, but if he heard what Moolah did in those days, jeez, those stories. Joe, you know the stories, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Pointing out the girls and
I can't share those on the internet. You know what goes on.
No,
let's leave it to the dark side of the ring.
The time era we're talking about. We're not talking about the 90s. We're not talking about the 80s or the 2000s. We're talking about like the 60s? The 60s.
Yeah.
That's like, not saying it's right, but like that was that era.
Yeah.
Like you can't do anything about it.
And that's the thing, and that's what I tell people all the time, right? Like you look at how even in the 90s, how wrestling, how it was coached, how guys trained, you know, the amount of guys that were, you know, eating leftovers that other guys weren't eating, or were starving while they were on the road. Would that be deemed acceptable today? No, but that's what they did then. Does it make it right or wrong? We weren't there. We weren't part, like I wasn't part of wrestling then, so I can't sit there and be like, oh well, that, you know, he did that to himself or they forced him to do that. It makes for tough situations, but at the same time, if you look at some of the wrestlers that came out of that era, that there are some really tough guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of future episodes that I think could definitely be a Dark Side of the Ring, which I don't think they even talked about yet.
I'm more thinking they're redoing another ROH one.
ROH should be a Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh, they need to do another ROH one because that was. I mean, if it wasn't for Geek, I would not be this hardcore. Like keep telling, like helping ring up like the independent wrestling scene. If it wasn't for ROH, I would never know about independent wrestling at all. Nothing.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on ROH right now? You know, do you think it's over, or do you think it's
I honestly, I think they're in my honest opinion, I think they're just taking a step back. I think you may see some rebranding. I think they just want to have that moment to reevaluate everything, which I don't blame them. I don't see anything wrong with that because they've been a force for how long, right? And there's so many new faces, like
almost 20 years.
Yeah, and so that takes its toll. And when you're sitting down and they do have a lot of respect in the wrestling world. Like a lot of wrestlers really hold their time and their opportunities that they've had with the ROH very high. I think, you know, it's not a bad thing to say, hey guys, like, look, we need to see what direction we truly want to go in, and not do the WWE style of, you know, we're just cutting everybody. We're bringing some back. We don't really know what we're doing. We're going to keep storylines long and boring. And we're, you know, selling to NBC, but not selling to NBC. Like, you know, I think this gives them that ability to keep control of how they're going to do things and how they're going to proceed.
I think the ROH's biggest problem, I think they should just go back to the way they were back in 2009 before Sinclair. Like, you know, okay, this guy works for Ring of Honor. He could work for this company, and he could work for this company, and he could work for this company. You know, just go backwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I feel like if all the talent, like, let's say you're working for Ring of Honor, right? And then you work for another independent promotion. You're working with this guy. This guy is going to teach you so much and you're going to learn so much from learning from this guy. You're going to bring it back to ROH. You're going to learn how that guy worked. And, you know, boom, right there. You're learning like a different trait. If you're keeping everybody in a bubble, nobody's learning anything.
No, exactly. And I think giving guys opportunities, again, there's so much knowledge out there with so many different wrestlers with so many different styles. And I think you handicap your wrestlers if you don't allow them the opportunity to grow and go get that training and that knowledge.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I want. They're gonna do a Dark Side of the Ring with the Saudi deal years down the line. I mean, they could do it. They could do it now because they have so many wrestlers that don't.
I think they're gonna wait a long time till Vince is probably gone because
they could do it now because
they'll get sued. Geek, they can't do that.
They won't get sued because you don't understand. WWE. The thing is, they have so many wrestlers right now that don't work for WWE that were there, but during that deal.
And still, they'll get sued, dude.
They don't work for them.
Private stories, you know. That's private stories. They can't really talk about that. You know what I mean? Now,
I do think you're right. I one of two things: either once Vince McMahon is long gone, or once NBC buys him.
Yeah,
you think that's happening?
I see it happening. I so see that happening, Adam. I believe that they're gonna get bought by NBC. I think they're going to.
Actually, my buddy, no names, announced he was just in the chat. He was telling me, don't be surprised if Nick Khan buys the company.
No.
I think Vince's asking price will be out of his price range.
You think so?
Yeah.
No, Nick Khan.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Nick Khan, not Tony.
Yeah,
definitely not Tony. Yeah, the Khan.
See, I don't know, like, because I started seeing rumors about NBC, like when they had the first big let go of talent, like about what, a year ago now, if not, and there was all those rumors like that they were clearing up. They're waiting for their big deal to end, so that way they can sell the whole package to NBC. Because if you look at NBC, what does NBC?
That's what I was just saying right there. Nick Khan, The Rock's a friend, childhood friend. The Rock will buy WWE.
But yeah, but I just think that like if you look at NBC, right, they don't have a ton of entertainment anymore. Like they've got what, the Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
God, that's still on the air, like live episodes.
It is, but apart from that, like they're looking to grab more attention, right? And I don't see Fox or any of those guys really doing wrestling any justice. And I think Vince has been losing money. Like their viewership has not been the greatest since doing their deals. So I really think that NBC has that want, and that's why they've had to they've really changed their format and how they're putting their wrestlers out, which I think is very strange.
Yeah. I wouldn't be. Another thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney bought them as well.
Me and Geek keep saying that.
You know what? I could see that because again, you look at how WWE is really dumbing down. They're not as violent. Yeah. They're not. They've really, like, I know they started going PG when Mrs. McMahon was planning on running and doing all sorts of things in politics. So they wanted to go more PG, which was, in my mind, a downfall. It was because they were doing great. But I think that if you look at it, they're really making it more family friendly, I guess, in a sense. Yeah. Mind you, I don't know what you guys think, but I find that they've really went back to sexualizing the women like crazy.
Yep.
Like it's, for a while they were way more covered up and they were really trying to go on their athleticism and their talent. And now they walk out and you're like, that's like a bathing suit for the beach. Like, what is happening? So that's a little strange, I think.
Yeah. What Disney buys WWE and we get 17 Undertaker wander around it.
Imagine that. Imagine that Halloween we get all the different Undertakers walking around Disney. It's not even like a human.
The Undertaker will be in the parade.
There'll be Undertaker like, float right there. It's like a Mickey Mouse head.
Don't worry, don't worry. There'll be WrestleMania at the castle. Yeah. With the fireworks.
It'll be $1,000 just to sit near the castle. We'll be sitting all the way in the back of the
by the castle.
World. Like,
yeah.
We'll be sitting by we came here they sit by it's the Small World ride. It's like 50.
With Disney prices going up, and then they add WrestleMania to it, I'll be like,
we'll be like at the hotel going, what's going on? I can't see. What is that? Get out of the way.
I see the fireworks. There you go. Is that for WrestleMania or is that for the end of the night fireworks shows?
Have it on the TV in the background while you're looking through your binoculars. But yeah,
we'll be doing the podcast on the porch at the Disney complex. Like they yell at us, "Get off the Wi-Fi!" No, we're on the Wi-Fi because we're doing a show.
We're doing a show.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting how there's so many rumors about what's happening with
Alexa because of the Disney princess.
I'm pretty sure she's always wanted to be a Disney princess, so it's not
faint. She'd be like, finally.
Not anymore. Not anymore. She's Mrs. Fiend now.
I honestly like her as a bad guy.
Whatever happened to her? Did she get injured or something?
I don't know.
When she get married, she just disappear off the face of the earth. She just disappeared. I haven't seen her anything on TV. Yeah. I'm like, what happened?
It's the strange world of WWE, right? They get a good thing going and then they just throw it to the side.
They're gone.
Weird.
Like Bray Wyatt is a classic example, right? Like they could have done so much with his character, so much, and they just made the same story over and over again to the point where he was even like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm done.
Yeah, I agree with Max. 2.0 is actually doing pretty good, and their characters are doing pretty good. So
I do like. I wouldn't say Braun Breaker is doing amazing, by the way.
I like Braun Breaker, especially he's the kid of one of my favorite tag teams of all time, the Steiner brothers. So I'm glad they gave
Ciampa the belt. So again, he never lost it, so he deserves another shot at it. You know what I mean?
See, and that's the one thing I found strange with, again, how the WWE did it, right? NXT was such a great form for the up and comers, and then they started, bringing guys up, and then bringing them back down and up and down, and then they were throwing, like, oh, this guy,
Lisa Arryn. She's cool. Yeah, she's cool.
Sweet.
He's a friend.
So so they started taking guys and like Daniel Bryan, putting them down to NXT and doing, and I was like, man, like, leave NXT to your up and comers and stop trying to, because all you're doing is taking away from them, because people end up tuning in just to see the WWE star go down and beat the shit out of the NXT guy. And it's like, man, like they had a great formula for so long and just kind of started ruining it.
Damn shame. Killer Cross. How do you mess them both up? It happens.
Yep.
I don't want to talk about that, but we don't talk negative politics on the podcast. We just talk,
Yeah, no, absolutely. But that's the thing, right? Like, I think now, again, at the same time, when you look at WWE and you look at the size that they are and the pressure that is on them to produce regularly, that pressure's got to be unreal. Mm-hmm. Absolutely unreal. And at the end of the day, Vince McMahon, you have to give him props for the empire that he built.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time.
Like, I could guarantee you that 95% of the world right now who are wrestling fans would have never been wrestling fans if it wasn't for Vince McMahon and the WWE.
Definitely.
Yeah, completely. Like, I give all these fans, all these young fans, that like they shit all over WWE. Like, if it wasn't for your dad watching WWE, you would not be watching wrestling, scumbags. That's what I say. Like,
I still think Vince needs to step down though.
Absolutely, retire. Again,
Triple H needs to take over and just let him do his thing with Sean and the Road Dogg, and so on and so
absolutely.
forth.
And I related a lot to, when you look at hockey players and stuff like that, right? Like you get those hockey players that they're at the top of the game, and when they do retire, you're like, why'd you retire, man? Like you're still good. But then you get those other guys that you're like, man, why don't you retire? Like, you're not who you used to be. And I think that, again, it's a hard pill to swallow, right? Like it's like when the day comes that we're all told that we're not allowed to drive anymore, it's going to be like, what? You're taking my license? Like that's my freedom. So I'm sure Vince is feeling the pressure, and Vince is probably, you know, it'd be hard. I'm sorry, but like I sit back, I think he needs to hand over the reins as well and enjoy some holidays and be able to watch the fruits of his labors continue to prosper. But at the same time, I do understand how hard that would be to, you know, you've always been the decision maker, and now you're just gonna fully let go and be like, all right, do what you will. And it would be a scary thing.
Yeah. That, and I can't believe it's like, can you imagine? I mean, speaking of, Sean really loved Adam Cole. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so, can you imagine if Adam Cole was a manager in on the main show? That would be like Shawn Michaels just being a manager and not being able to perform. Yeah. Can you imagine that, Joe?
I'm reading Max's comment. The reason why he fired him is because of that storyline with the car exploding. They weren't supposed to be smiling when someone's car explodes, Max.
Yeah. But anyway, like I was saying, can you imagine Sean not being able to wrestle? We would never know how good his matches were.
Yeah, I know.
So that's the same thing with Adam Cole right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So where could people find you?
Well, we're on Instagram under Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. Yeah. We're on Facebook. It's only Hammerlock Wrestling on Facebook. And then we also have the apparel company. So at Hammerlock Apparel on Instagram and www.hammerlockapparel.com. Yeah. So like I tell people, if you're coming out to a show and you don't know which wrestler is going to be there, because I don't reveal my cards unless you follow all my wrestlers. That will be the only way you'll know who's wrestling.
Oh, wow.
So if you don't know who's wrestling, might as well buy some apparel before you come out, because it doesn't just support us, it supports the wrestlers as well. Wow. And then once you're there, then you could decide whose merch you want to buy.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty cool. It's like kind of like an old school way of doing shows. Like you have no idea what the card is at all. Nothing's advertised, or it's like you just find out when you get there.
Absolutely. We don't put wrestlers on the posters. We don't, like I said, we only reveal, we may reveal one person, like as an example, when we're in Strathroy, we'll reveal the hometown boy. So we do have a wrestler on our card who is from Strathroy that, we'll reveal him. But apart from that, I do not reveal my cards. I get messaged all the time to find out who's on my card. And I laugh because sometimes even my own wrestlers are like, so who's on the card? And it's like, you'll find out a couple of weeks before.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Go for the wrestling, not the star. There you go. Right.
100%.
It's like that. It's like that show I told you earlier about. Like me and Joe went to a show not knowing who one person was on that card. Yeah, they were all local wrestlers, and we had a ball. Like the show was awesome. So they know not one wrestler on that card.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, when you go to a wrestling show, you should be going to enjoy the show and not for who's on it. I know a lot of people go, oh, you should get this guy, you should get that guy. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm not going to book a wrestler just because he can bring me 10 extra seats. I want to book the talent that is going to wrestle and take what I want from them. So when I say, hey, this is the style I want you to wrestle in, or this is how I want the match to kind of go, not necessarily dictate the match, but like I want old school wrestling. I want those wrestlers to understand that and go with that. So for me, I don't mind going with a bunch of young guys that don't yet have a name, because at the end of the day, I feel that they're talented enough and they will be big names one day.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And
oh yeah, I was gonna ask what's the upcoming matches, but yeah, obviously you don't give those away.
No. So we do have we're booked January 29th in Strathroy again at the Portuguese Canadian Club of Strathroy. Then I also have show February 12th in Elmer at the Saxonia Hall. It's the German club there. And then I've pretty much got almost a show every month booked. I am working on a few other shows and a few other bookings that we're hoping to do. And as well, like I tell people all the time, we're also open to doing corporate events, which not everyone does, but I could have a 3-card show. I could have a 5-card show, whatever they need. It's something that could be a little bit different for a corporate event, a little bit different entertainment. And we're not, I don't gouge. I have my calculations. So if someone says, hey, this is where I want you to be, it'll take me about 15 minutes to calculate what the cost will be for exactly what they want, and I can make it pretty much anything happen.
Yeah,
you've been awesome, by the way. We really appreciate you coming on our podcast.
We'll have to do like a spotlight of a Hammerlock for next year, because we're doing a spotlight of some other promotions for next year, so we could put a week of Hammerlock people and have you come back on like that.
And we could talk more about just I
think we should plan that. Definitely have you come on like a certain month and have we're doing a month of Liberty Pro. February is just Women's Wrestling Month. For one guy from
is one guy's on it.
One guy. It's we broke the news today. His name is Valentine.
On Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the ladies' day, right? So throw the guy on that day.
I told Geek I don't want the mod executing me, so we may pre-record that. So I don't want that.
It might be a pre-recorded episode.
I don't want to have my tail cut off by the mod. Okay.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Sense.
I don't want to be a tailless cat.
No, so yeah. I would definitely be up for that. I'm sure I could get a lot of the talent on board. We've got phenomenal talent. Like our talent is they're super awesome guys. Like the guys and girls. Like they're always smiling. They're always happy. And the fact that when they post stuff about how they can't wait to be on another Hammerlock show, and because of the atmosphere and the locker room and everything else, it feels good.
Yeah. Well, we'd be down to have you back on, because you're like us. You love wrestling and you love to
talk. And you love to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely don't let a lot of awkward silence. That's for sure.
We would talk in college because we did college radio together. That's how Being Geek met. And we were taught by our radio guys, never have dead air.
Dead air. Yeah.
That's like the death of your radio show right there. That's just telling you, I'm done. Gotta go.
Yeah.
You don't care. But then my mom says dead air is bad, but you don't want to talk too much. It pulls air out of the balloon. It's like you pop the balloon, but you slowly you hold the balloon and pop it and then squeeze the air out of it. That's what you're doing when you talk too much.
Yeah. No, it that is true. Just take a look. Did Paul Heyman influence?
You also.
No. He's a great talker, 100%. But he was not an influence of mine. I saw more of him later in life. I wasn't always a big fan of his, and not because of who he is, like just his. Unfortunately, how can I say this without getting trashed? The man he was managing, I'm not a huge fan of.
Okay.
So I just, for me, it got annoying, and I was like, man, like, but there's so much to Paul Heyman as well. Like, there's like that man is he can talk, and he could really, honestly, he could take the three of us and make us like the champion. Yeah. Like he can talk anyone to be the favorite of the fan base.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was telling Joe I would love to pick his brain because because I would be like, dude, what are we doing wrong? How can we fix it? How can we do this? And then
like, you know what you're doing wrong? You don't have me on your podcast.
You guys could probably pay him, and he would probably give you a binder full, just because of just because of the knowledge that man has. Like he'd be like, all right, guys, here you go, and you'd be like, what? Like, this is.
We would have to have like a 3 hour. We would have to start the show at 6 o'clock just so he can give us everything. The show would be starting. We'd end at like 3 in the morning, probably.
Man would talk for hours.
He would definitely be someone that would be amazing to really get to chat and just the knowledge, right? Again, like Tyson Dukes, like that, he has so much knowledge, and the amount of just connections he has, the amount of knowledge, the things he knows about wrestling is just absolutely phenomenal. Like, I love watching him coach, and I love watching him tell stories, because you start asking him questions, and like, it's just phenomenal. It's like another, like a whole nother world when you sit down and start talking to him.
I was just about to say something, just blew my mind just right now. Joe might not like it. I know this will never, ever, ever happen, but can you imagine Paul Heyman in AEW?
No, not gonna happen.
I think his dedication is too.
That's why I just
too strong. Yeah, it would be interesting, that's for sure. But I think his dedication is just too heavy to WWE.
I think so too. He's been there far too long, but you know. So, but I'm just saying,
and he has a lot of power at WWE.
Yeah, so
like exactly. I don't think they would give him the same strength.
No, right.
So what do you guys think of like? Do you think that the Hardy brothers are gonna fully both be with AEW?
Joe's not the biggest AEW fan.
Not like, I don't really like the way they went at it with Ring of Honor when they were doing the show in the Garden, because I kind of like got like, meh. I'm a big ROH fan, so I kind of like got very like upset that they did that to ROH. I'm like,
see to me, wrestling is just wrestling. You know, I support all the companies, all equally the same. Yeah, that's just me.
And I'm old school. I know the WWE, the WCW, the NWAs, and the people like that brought us up. That's like the tree that you used to sit under watching TV. You're not gonna go find a bench that somebody built, a new bench. You just gotta see what they're doing, maybe one day, but no, I'm old school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see, and that's like with myself, like I've had some discussions with some other promotions, and I try and tell everybody, like, look, you know, like I'm not here to take over anyone's town. I'm not. Yes, I think he would be Jeff. Yeah, he should take some time with the family and just enjoy life a little bit, and recover. I think that'd be best. But so yeah, so like I try and tell other promotions, like I'm definitely not looking to come and take over anyone's town right now. I'm very focused on smaller communities, just because a lot of those communities don't get anything. So it's kind of nice to bring stuff there where they don't have to come into the big town, the big city. But I tell people, like, if I decide to put on an event somewhere and it's potentially a town that already has wrestling, chances are when I show up, one, I'm not going to plan it. Like, I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, so-and-so is having their promotion on Saturday. Okay, well, I want to do mine Saturday as well. One, that I would never do that to anybody. I would definitely try and plan it out so that way there's space in between the two shows. But at the same time, my product is very different than the current product that's out there in Ontario. So, you know, to me, my product and their product should both be able to survive. Because if one product is more high flying, more, you know, potentially, you know, more death matchy, whatnot, they're completely different than what I'm putting out there. So our fan bases will be a bit different. Yes, there's going to be crossover fans, but in general, our fan bases are going to be different. We're not going to be competing for the same people. Yeah. So I really try and promote that, where like, hey guys, like I can talk about you guys in a positive light, just like you should be able to talk about me, and let's grow the love of wrestling instead of going at each other and trying to just compete for all the same thing. You know, I think it's the same with WWE and AEW, right? I really think that two big companies can survive. There is enough of a wrestling fan base that they would both be able to survive.
I've said that many times, collaboration over competition.
Absolutely.
Because especially with podcasting too, me and Joe feel so strongly about working with other podcasters to have an awesome show. You know, we invite them on our show, they invite us on theirs. You know, that's what we try to do as a collaboration as well. So
yeah, and the other nice thing too is it gives you guys opportunities to bounce things off each other, right? Like, yeah, you know, like working with someone else, you could bounce ideas off on the show, or, you know, let's say you have a guest that's coming up that someone else has already interviewed, and they go, hey, like, look, I got this juicy detail. I know there's more to it. It gives you guys a chance to open up that door too.
Exactly.
And then it just builds everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Helping everybody.
Yeah.
Out, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to grow each other's business and get more fans involved and get the word out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Streamers helping streamers is what it's all about.
I think we said enough tonight, Geek. Everybody's getting tired.
Yeah. All right. That's it. All right. But we want to thank you so much for coming on our podcast, by the way. Hope you come back on in the future.
Well, we're going to work on something.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd love to come back on, guys. Thank you so much for having me on. I absolutely appreciate it. And again, thanks for reaching out, and thank you for having Rodney and Miley on the show. You guys are doing a lot of great things.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you so much.
We'll do
So we will see.
We will see you guys tomorrow for Killjoy and her boyfriend Trevor.
See you guys tomorrow.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Yeah.